just want to plug this report from the House of Commons Library that was published yesterday on youth unemployment. Really, really interesting read and some quite stark statistics. Reading through, youth unemployment has gone up by 42,000 in the last year, and there are now an extra 50,000 economically inactive young people over the last year. I just wondered what more the department is doing on this. Earlier on in your, Minister, in your comments, you mentioned conversations with the Department for Business and Trade. I sat on the Employment Rights Bill Committee, and one of the arguments I continually made during that committee was some of the maybe unintended consequences of some of the legislation would have on youth unemployment, but clearly didn't win that argument. I just wonder what more you're doing to work with those departments to ensure that policies like that aren't going to continue to increase youth unemployment.
Thank you for that question. Inactivity overall is down a bit, which is a good thing. But I would say the situation for young people is, well, it's a big worry for me at the moment. Whatever one thinks of what happens in COVID and lockdown and so on, and we had a big debate about it at the time, I think the next generation took steps to try to protect other people during that period, and as a result they lost the opportunity to socialise and to take their first steps into adulthood in a way that has had consequences for them, and I worry about that greatly. The government as a whole is bringing forward a national youth strategy, and we in DWP are a very active part of that, and at risk of annoying myself, we'll have more to say about it quite soon, because we've got our inactivity trailblazers running, and also 8 areas that are working to support young people in a better way. I am anxious to get the results of that work so that we can build our policy from there. It's fair to say that you don't pay NICs for people below the age of 22, so there are things that employers could benefit from in employing young people.
Without going too much into the policy of the Employment Rights Bill, but it's something that I know a little bit about, given I was the Bill Committee, I was concerned about some of the impacts of that bill on youth unemployment, particularly, the definition here is up to 24, I think that's the official definition of young people. In terms of the day one rights, for example, if I'm an employer and I'm employing someone and they have very limited or little employment history, i.e. a young person, they're taking on an additional risk by employing a younger person than someone later in their career who perhaps has got a longer employment history. So my concern is that those types of policies will damage, will harm, youth employment. And I just wondered what conversations are going on between the DWP and the Department for Business and Trade to ensure that that doesn't happen.
So, lack of experience is a really big problem for young people, and we have mentoring circles, and we're actually just working on an improved work experience programme within job centres to try to help with that. We've had a big debate publicly about people's rights at work and the balance of that, and the Labour Party, as part of the election, put forward its proposals on people's employment rights, and the country voted for it. And I think it's important that we get on and make those changes. The points you make are not unreasonable, and I consider the need to do more to help young people get a start all the time. But we set out to improve the quality of people's employment by improving their rights at work, and I'll be keeping a close eye on the impacts of that and making sure that young people do get a chance and an opportunity of a career.